The piercing, insistent tone of the digital clock echoes in the otherwise silent room, each second a hammer blow against the already taut nerves of the 8 candidates. They sit around a large, polished table, bathed in the cool, sterile glow of fluorescent lights. Their faces, a diverse tapestry of ambition and anxiety, are fixed on the single sheet of paper before each of them. But this is no ordinary exam. The Invigilator, a stern woman with an almost preternatural calm, circles the room, her gaze sweeping over them like a searchlight. Her instructions, delivered with chilling precision, have just concluded. 1 question, 80 minutes, and 3 absolute rules. Break any of them and you are disqualified. The first rule: do not deface your paper. The second: do not leave the room. The third, and most perplexing: do not speak to the Invigilator or the armed guard standing impassively by the door. The clock ticks down from 80:00. The pressure is immediate, suffocating. Each candidate stares at their designated workspace, a single A4 sheet. Expectation warps into confusion. There is nothing written on the paper. No question. Just a company logo, elegant and abstract, in the top corner. The realization dawns, slow and horrifying, across the room. There is no traditional exam question. This is the first, most fundamental challenge. How do you answer a question that doesn't exist? A ripple of unease passes through the group, quickly suppressed by the omnipresent threat of disqualification. Each person grapples internally with this unprecedented hurdle. A young man, known only as White, rubs his temple, his brow furrowed in concentration. Black, a woman with a sharp, analytical gaze, leans back, her eyes scanning the room, not the paper. The clock continues its relentless descent. The silence, once a sign of concentration, now feels heavy with unspoken questions and burgeoning panic. The initial shock gives way to a simmering tension. Whispers are forbidden, direct interaction a risk. Yet, unspoken communication begins. Eyes dart across the table, gauging reactions, seeking clues. White, ever the pragmatist, picks up his pen, then hesitates. What to write? Where to begin? Another candidate, Dark, a quiet, observant man, studies his paper intently, as if willing the question to appear. Blonde, a woman with an air of sophisticated confidence, taps her fingers rhythmically on the table, a nervous energy barely contained. The Invigilator's gaze is a constant reminder of the rules. The armed guard remains a silent, statuesque sentinel. The lack of a question is not a mistake. It is the question. This is a test of problem-solving under extreme pressure, a psychological gauntlet designed to filter out all but the most resourceful. The clock shows 75:00. Time is slipping away, and still nothing is written. Suddenly, White breaks the unspoken tension. He holds up his blank paper, his expression a mixture of frustration and dawning realization. He points to it, then to his head, a silent plea for understanding. No one responds directly, but their attention is now focused on him. He then turns his paper over, inspects the edges, and presses down on the surface. Nothing. Then, a flicker of inspiration. He tries a small, almost imperceptible movement, and the paper catches a subtle shift of light. It's not entirely blank. There are faint indentations, visible only from a specific angle under the harsh light. A collective murmur of understanding, quickly stifled, ripples through the group. The paper isn't blank. The question is invisible. This is the real test. White has, inadvertently, found the first clue. But how to reveal the question to everyone without breaking the rules? The Invigilator watches, unblinking. The clock continues its unforgiving march. Realizing the invisible nature of the question, the candidates begin a silent, collective effort. White, with a renewed sense of purpose, holds his paper up to the light, trying to articulate his discovery without words. Brown, a pragmatic and slightly older man, watches intently, then mimics White's actions. Soon, several others are tilting their papers, trying to catch the elusive indentations. Blonde, ever observant, notices something crucial. The light source itself, the overhead fluorescents, are key. By shifting their position slightly, or by manipulating the angle of the paper, the faint outlines of text become visible. It's a laborious process, but the shared understanding creates a strange, unspoken camaraderie. They are competitors, but for this moment, they are united against a common adversary. The invisible question. The clock ticks past 70:00. Progress is slow, but it is progress. As the faint lines become clearer, the candidates realize the question is not a single, concise sentence. It appears to be a series of fragments spread across the page, almost like a puzzle. Each person sees slightly different parts, depending on their angle and the light. It's a jumble of words, incomplete phrases, and cryptic symbols. Green, a younger, more impulsive candidate, tries to articulate what he sees, but a sharp glance from the Invigilator silences him immediately. The rules are absolute. The challenge intensifies. Not only is the question invisible, but it is also fragmented. They must not only reveal it, but also piece it together. White, with a focused intensity, begins to trace the indentations with his finger, attempting to map out the structure of the text. Black, ever analytical, observes the overall patterns, looking for repetitions or common themes. The clock shows 65:00. The invisible question is slowly giving up its secrets, but the task remains monumental. Blonde, watching the others struggle to fully decipher the fragmented text, begins to consider alternative explanations. The indentations are one thing, but what if there's more? She recalls tales of invisible ink, activated by heat or specific chemicals. Her eyes subtly scan the room. Are there any hidden elements? A lamp? A small bottle? The room is starkly barren, designed to offer no assistance. Yet, the possibility lingers. She subtly tries holding her paper closer to her body, hoping for warmth, but nothing happens. It's a long shot, but the nature of the exam suggests unconventional solutions are not just permitted but encouraged. Meanwhile, White continues to painstakingly trace the almost imperceptible grooves, confirming the existence of a structured question. The difficulty of simply reading the question is a testament to the exam's notorious reputation. This is a crucible for mental agility. The clock advances relentlessly, now at 60:00. The pressure mounts, palpable and suffocating. White, frustrated by the slow progress of deciphering the question through mere indentations, makes a bold, risky move. He glances at the armed guard, then at the Invigilator, then back at his paper. He takes a small sip of water from the glass provided, then, with a barely perceptible movement, lets a few drops fall onto the paper. His heart pounds. Is this defacing the paper? Will he be disqualified instantly? The drops spread, soaking into the pristine white surface. For a terrifying moment, nothing happens. Then, slowly, faintly, a shimmering blue text begins to appear where the water touched. It's invisible ink, activated by moisture. A gasp, quickly stifled, escapes his lips. This is it. The real question, hidden in plain sight, revealed by an act of daring and ingenuity. The Invigilator's eyes narrow slightly, but she does not intervene. White has found the key, but now the challenge is to share it without breaking the rules. The clock reads 55:00, and the game has just escalated dramatically. The appearance of the blue text electrifies the room. White, his initial fear replaced by a surge of adrenaline, subtly gestures towards his water bottle, then to his paper, a silent instruction for the others. Brown, quick to understand, immediately takes a sip from his own glass and carefully sprinkles water onto his paper. The blue text blossoms forth, then green, then blonde, then black. Soon, all but one candidate, a nervous young woman named Ruth, are carefully wetting their papers, revealing the hidden question. The room fills with the soft rustle of paper and the quiet dabs of water. The question, finally, is revealed in its entirety. Only the first question of this exam is visible. The rest are hidden. This is not a question. It's a confounding statement, a meta-puzzle. The shock is immediate. There isn't just one question. There are more, and they are also hidden. The clock stands at 50:00, and the candidates realize they've only just scratched the surface. The initial relief of revealing the first hidden text quickly morphs into profound confusion. Only the first question of this exam is visible. The rest are hidden. This is not an answerable question. It's a further enigma. It implies a deeper layer of complexity, a series of cascading hidden challenges. The candidates exchange bewildered glances. If this isn't the actual question, then what is? And where are the rest of the questions? The Invigilator remains impassive, her silence a cruel testament to the difficulty of the task. White, his initial triumph fading, rereads the statement, searching for a hidden meaning. Black, ever methodical, begins to systematically examine her now wet paper, looking for further indentations, new watermarks, anything that might suggest a second layer of hidden text. The clock is a constant, mocking presence, now at 45:00. The true nature of the exam is slowly revealing itself. It's a test of infinite layers, each harder than the last, designed to break even the most resilient minds. 8 candidates sit in a stark, windowless room, each at their own desk. The atmosphere crackles with tension, a silent prelude to a momentous test. A stern invigilator, precise and unyielding, lays down the ground rules. 80 minutes. One question. Do not speak. Do not spoil your paper. Do not leave the room. Break any rule and you're disqualified. He demonstrates by disqualifying a candidate who asks a question, a brutal, immediate expulsion that sends a chill through the group. The remaining 7 exchange nervous glances, the weight of the rules pressing down. They flip their papers, eager to begin, only to find them blank. Not a single word, not a single question. Confusion ripples through the room, a collective, silent gasp of disbelief as they stare at thimpy sheets before them. The Invigilator remains impassive, observing their dawning realization with a cold, almost detached gaze, as if this very moment is part of the test itself, a psychological hurdle before the real challenge even begins. The candidates, initially stunned, begin to murmur, low whispers breaking the enforced silence. It's blank. Someone breathes, a statement of the obvious that still carries the weight of a profound revelation. The Invigilator, true to his word, steps forward, his hand hovering over the disqualified button. The whispers die instantly, the lesson from the first expulsion still fresh and stinging. They return to their papers, scanning every inch, hoping for an invisible ink, a hidden message, anything to make sense of this absurd situation. White, a confident, assertive man, takes charge, suggesting they scrutinize the Invigilator's exact words. One question. Perhaps the question isn't on the paper at all. Perhaps it's something else entirely. An unspoken challenge, a puzzle that transcends the physical document before them. The idea hangs in the air, a fragile thread of hope in a room filled with growing frustration and fear, as the clock on the wall ticks relentlessly onward. White takes a lead, his voice a low, commanding murmur as he tries to rally the disoriented group. He proposes they work together, sharing theories. Brown, a seemingly meek woman, interjects, pointing out the rule. Do not spoil your paper. If they write on it, they risk disqualification. Black, a quiet, observant man, counters that if the paper is blank, writing on it wouldn't be spoiling anything. It's a semantic argument, but it sparks a tentative agreement. They decide to try and make the question appear. White holds his paper up to the light, hoping for a watermark. Blonde tries to find a hidden pattern. Dark, a cynical and aggressive man, simply scoffs at their efforts. He suggests the obvious. The paper is just paper and they're overthinking it. This initial attempt to reveal the question fails, deepening the sense of unease. The clock continues its march, eating away at their precious 80 minutes, while the central mystery of the blank paper remains unsolved, mocking their collective intellect. As the frustration mounts, Black, with a sudden, decisive move, picks up his glass of water and deliberately spills it onto his blank exam paper. The others gasp, fearing immediate disqualification, but the Invigilator remains still. As the water soaks into the paper, a faint outline begins to emerge, coalescing into words. A wave of relief, mixed with awe, washes over the group. It's a question, finally, But the joy is short-lived. The words are in a foreign language, and they quickly fade as the water dries. Dark, ever the pragmatist, immediately pours his own water onto his paper, and the same pattern repeats. They realize the question is written in a heat-sensitive or water-soluble ink. This ingenious method, born of desperation and observation, finally provides a breakthrough. The challenge now shifts from finding the question to deciphering it before it vanishes. The candidates scramble for their water glasses, a new energy surging through the room, the game finally, truly, beginning. With the discovery of the water-activated ink, a new problem arises: the fading ink. They need a continuous supply of moisture. White, thinking fast, suggests they use the water from their glasses. But what about when that runs out? He then proposes they smash their glasses, using the shards to scrape the water from the dispenser and keep the paper wet. The idea is brutal but practical. Brown hesitates, worried about the rules again, but the desire to solve the puzzle outweighs her fear. With a collective resolve, they begin to smash their glasses against the desks, the sharp cracks echoing through the silent room. The Invigilator watches, unmoving, confirming that this, too, is within the bounds of the test. The shattered glass glints on the floor, a testament to their desperate ingenuity. They now have a way to reveal the question, but the race against time is more intense than ever, as they struggle to read and interpret the quickly appearing and disappearing text. The first question, when finally revealed and kept legible through their desperate efforts, is written in Danish. Only Brown understands it, haltingly translating for the group. It asks, which one of these does not belong? Below it, a list of items: a spoon, a knife, a fork, and a straw. The simplicity of the question, after such an elaborate reveal, is almost comical, yet the stakes are incredibly high. They debate the answer. Some argue the straw, as it's not made of metal. Others suggest the spoon, as it's not sharp. Dark, always looking for a simpler, more direct solution, dismisses the subtlety. He believes it's a trick. As they argue, the clock continues its relentless count. The group is divided, each candidate clinging to their own interpretation, but time is a luxury they cannot afford. This initial hurdle, seemingly straightforward, proves to be a complex psychological test, designed to sow discord and confusion among the desperate applicants. Dark, growing increasingly frustrated with the group's indecision and what he perceives as their overly complicated reasoning, lashes out. He believes the test is designed to find a ruthless, decisive leader, not a consensus builder. He begins to verbally attack the others, accusing them of wasting time and overthinking a simple problem. His aggression creates further division, shattering any fragile alliance that had begun to form. He asserts that the correct answer is irrelevant at this stage. The true test is about control, about manipulation. He attempts to physically intimidate some of the other candidates, demanding they agree with his answer or at least stop debating. His behavior, while violating the spirit of cooperation, doesn't break any explicit rules, and the Invigilator remains silent. The tension in the room escalates, transforming the exam from a mental challenge into a perilous, interpersonal battle, a fight for dominance and survival in this high-stakes environment. The relentless ticking of the clock becomes a character in itself, an omnipresent reminder of their dwindling time. Every second that passes without progress amplifies the pressure. White tries to regain control, to steer the group back to a collaborative approach, but Dark's disruptive influence has taken hold. Blonde, desperate, suggests they look for clues beyond the paper itself, perhaps in the room. Brown, still trying to mediate, tries to bring them back to the Danish question, but the window for that is rapidly closing. The stress is palpable, sweat beading on brows, eyes darting between the blank papers, the clock, and each other. The Invigilator's unmoving presence adds to the psychological burden, his silence a constant judgment. The candidates realize that time is not just a constraint. It's an active weapon wielded by the examiners, designed to break their resolve and force hasty, ill-considered decisions. They are not just solving a puzzle. They are fighting against the very passage of moments. White, remembering the earlier attempt with light, holds his paper up to the room's intense fluorescent lighting. This time, he notices something, a faint, almost imperceptible texture. He realizes the paper isn't completely blank. There are subtle indentations, almost like braille. This discovery leads to a new wave of frantic activity. They begin to rub the paper, trying to feel the raised letters or patterns. Some try to use their pencils to shade over the indentations, hoping to make them visible, a technique known as rubbings. The combined efforts slowly reveal new sets of symbols and words, distinct from the water-activated ink. The test is layered, each discovery leading to another, more complex challenge. The candidates realize the exam is designed to test not just their intellect, but their resourcefulness, their ability to adapt, and their capacity for lateral thinking under extreme pressure, with each layer peeling back to reveal a deeper, more intricate puzzle. The sheer ingenuity of the exam's design is both frustrating and awe-inspiring. In a moment of desperation to reveal the indented patterns more clearly, Brown takes a piece of broken glass and deliberately cuts her hand. The others gasp, fearing a disqualification, but the Invigilator remains still. She then smears her own blood onto her paper, hoping the contrast will highlight the hidden text. The dark red blood, stark against the white paper, makes the indentations visible, revealing another layer of hidden information. It's a shocking, self-sacrificial act, driven by the intense pressure and the need for a breakthrough. Her blood-stained paper reveals a series of numbers and letters, a new code to decipher. The gruesome act underscores the high stakes of the exam and the extent to which the candidates are willing to go. It is a moment of raw, primal drive, a testament to the desperate fight for survival and success within this brutal, psychological arena, where personal injury is a price willingly paid for a single clue. Dark, seizing on Brown's desperate act, turns his aggression on Blonde. He accuses her of being weak, of not contributing, of being a liability to the group. His words are sharp, designed to break her spirit and isolate her, effectively eliminating her as a competitor without breaking the no physical contact rule. He argues that the test is about culling the weak, and she is clearly one of them. Blonde, already fragile, begins to crumble under his relentless verbal assault. White and Brown try to intervene, but Dark's intensity is overwhelming. His strategy becomes clear. If he can't solve the puzzle outright, he will eliminate the competition through psychological warfare, exploiting the stress and fear in the room. He sees every interaction as a battle, every weakness as an opportunity. The examination has devolved into a cutthroat contest, where the candidates are not just fighting the clock and the puzzle, but each other, revealing the darker aspects of human nature under extreme pressure. As the mental and emotional toll mounts, Black suddenly remembers something from the initial briefing. The Invigilator had mentioned a small, innocuous-looking tablet on each desk. He realizes it wasn't just for focus or stress relief. He takes the tablet, crushes it into a powder, and mixes it with a few drops of water from his broken glass, creating a paste. He then smears this paste onto his paper. The chemical reaction is instantaneous and dramatic. The paste causes a powerful, dark blue dye to flood the paper, but critically, it leaves one section completely blank. This blank area forms the true, definitive question, clearly visible and permanent. The question is, he has found the actual question, finally, clearly and unambiguously. The previous revelations were all distractions, tests of observation, and red herrings. This is the moment of truth, the culmination of all their desperate efforts. Yet the challenge is far from over. What will the question ask, and what will the answer be? The next phase of the exam, the true test, is about to begin.